No, you're right.
Okay, I would like to call the annual reorganizational meeting of the Board of Education to order. Roll call. Joseph Fon.
Present.
Audit Committee. Tony Lewis. Present. Stephen Knight. Present. Sarah Messing. Present. Diana Gregoire. Present. Now Westminster.
Present.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to recognize our newly re-elected board member, Joseph Bond, and our newly elected board member, Katie McKnight. I will now accept nominations for the office of President of the Board of Education.
I would like to nominate Joseph Bond for president.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the office of President of the Board of Education? Hearing none, I have a motion made by Sarah Messing, seconded by Art Fitzgerald, to appoint Joseph Bond to the position of President of Valley Central Board of Education. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes 7-0. So now I will turn the meeting over to the President of the Board of Education.
Thank you. All right, I'm Joseph Bond, the newly elected president for the Board of Education for Valley Central. Due to COVID restrictions, the district offices are closed, and we're practicing social distancing and wearing masks for the purpose of this meeting. And as a result of safety guidelines, Central Office District is closed, and this meeting is not open to the public. There will be no public participation. Before I get started, I'd like to thank Chris Moore, Director of Technology, for setting up this meeting and accommodating us being in person for our reorganizational meeting. Being in person makes this meeting a lot easier because there's a lot of things that we need to go through. At this time, I would like to call for a nomination for the Vice President of the Board.
Nominate Sarah Messing.
Can I get a second? All in favor of Sarah being nominated as a Vice President?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 7-0. Congratulations, Sarah. You're the Vice President. Okay. Next on the agenda is the administration of oath of faithful performance.
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of New York, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Board member.
consent agenda for the reorganizational meeting. So I'd like to take items Roman numeral 5 through 10, which includes at the top of page 3, appointment of officers, other appointments, designations, authorizations, official undertakings, and other as consent items for the organizational meeting. Would anybody like to make a motion? Second?
I'll second.
There, second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sanctions? Okay, then passes 7-0. Okay, so that is actually the end of our reorganizational meeting, and now we'll move into our regular meeting agenda, and we'll turn it over to John for correspondence and commendations.
Okay. Acknowledge receipt of a copy of a note of appreciation from Barbara Gravel, the district's attendance teacher and homeless liaison, and to Ryan Schmidt, director of facilities. I cannot thank you and your team enough for all you've done to help keep snack attack kids fed throughout the pandemic. I remember meeting on March 17th at the central office with my concerns about keeping the kids fed, and then feeling relieved. When I left it quickly, I had a plan of action solution. Even in the middle of the worldwide health pandemic, we were where we didn't know what was safe or what could harm us. You and your team stepped up. For 16 weeks, you and your team availed yourself to deliver 100+ bags of food to every nook and cranny of the district. Actually, I think it was 141 bags. You and your team had no idea what you were stepping into, what type of home situations you would encounter, but you did it each week with kindness, humor, determination, and then showed up a week later to do it all over again. I hope you and your team rest at night knowing that what a great you did. Please share my gratitude with them. I wish I could thank each of your staff members individually. They are amazing. Friday, 6/26 is our last snack attack delivery for 1920. On behalf of the kids and myself, thank you so much for your done. It means so much to us. So that was from Barbara, and I can just make sure. The second thing was acknowledge a receipt of an email forward from Berea Elementary School's principal from a parent. The teacher who had adopted so well. Teachers have adopted so well and so quickly in this situation. It was not ideal for anyone to have to participate in school at home, but the materials and support provided by your staff made it much easier. They are each great educations, but even more their kindness and radiated through and helped kids want to participate instead of just having to participate. It's clear that your teachers and therapists care about each student. I'm grateful that we are a Berea family and to benefit from your incredible staff. And knowledge of the student who was in Mrs. Who gave speech therapy from a child, Mrs. Gephardt. It was obvious that Mrs. Gephardt's lessons in preparation were innovative, creative, well-planned, and captivating. Her delivery of the lesson to our son, who struggles with ADHD, made lessons fun, exciting, and something to look forward to every session. When it comes to care and concern for her students, enthusiasm and dedication to teaching, Mrs. Gephardt has shown herself to be an exemplary model that all teachers should strive for. Okay? And last, this is a knowledge of receipt of a letter from parents to 2 seniors. We would be remiss if you let this year go without recognizing and praising the collective efforts of Valley Central School District, making this year a truly special one for our children. We, as both educators and parents, realize the enormous challenges that you face as a result of the pandemic. The amount of time, thought, and planning that went into every aspect of our children's final year at Valley Central High School is to be Our two sons specifically have benefited greatly from being guided by amazing teachers, coaches, counselors along their path through their district. They have developed a brotherly bond that has lasted since preschool. I know it is because of the many positive experiences the school district has fostered. In light of the pandemic, we feel so blessed and so very grateful for the tremendous attention that was given to every detail leading up, including the graduation festivities. In the past year, with our older children, we have experienced the many wonderful traditions, graduation events for which Valley Central is known. We found that the creative twists that allowed those traditions to continue this year equally are memorable. We appreciate the personal attention given not only by the superintendent, principal, Jamie Baxter, but by every one of our children's teachers, coaches, counselors, Mrs. Oakes, Mrs. Vinoff, Ms. Kane, Mr. Taylor, Coaches Bartle, and Coach Rossenberger are just a few of the many mentors that have profoundly impacted our sons' lives and have placed them on a trajectory for success. We will never forget the kindness afforded to our sons and the indelible mark the district has made on our lives. We sincerely appreciate all you've done. And that is signed at the second page. That's from the Rosenberg family and the old Fitzgibbons. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have the second page for some reason. Fitzgibbons. So, thank you, Mr. Bond.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the proposed consent agenda. We have one item that we will pull from the agenda under Superintendent's recommendation, Section C, the contract for the school business official. We're going to pull tonight for additional discussion. Sure. We're going to pull one. Well, you want to do one separate. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to pull three, and we're going to vote on one separate. Okay. Okay. So for the proposed consent agenda, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Sarah. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, 7-0. Can I get a motion under Section C, approval of the Michael Belrose Administrative Mentor? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
No. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Sarah? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Abstentions? Okay. Passes 6-1. Thank you. And that's all for consent agenda. We will move on to reports at this time. We turn it over to John for superintendent's report.
Thank you. Very quickly, I know we're pressed for time, but I just wanted to thank, kind of reiterate with that last letter, and just thank the people most responsible for all the graduation, but particularly, and I think I added up, I think it was about 26 hours of time, but special thanks to Ms. Jamie Baxter, Sarah Messing, Mr. Joe Bond, Mrs. Kim Carver, and Caitlin Jameson, our photographer, who were there for all of the students coming through. And I would mention I think I mentioned before, I'm on calls every day, and every district did a great job of honoring their students. And I would just tell two things. One district in particular said, it was a great day. Someone said it was epic, which I'm sure it was. And it took 13 hours. And I was thinking, oh, that's great, but I just want you guys to know and the public to know it was double time. And the other thing they said was, we were so pleased that we could get 2 pictures for every kid. And I will tell you, and Joe and Sarah might want to speak to it, but every family that showed up, got out, they could take pictures, and any groups, as much time. That was one thing that Jamie told them. You have as much time as you want. This is your day. After you get your picture taken with your diploma, you can have any combinations. And we had some cars, I think, that had believe it or not, 8 people in it. We said we should have had a contest to see if what was the winning car. There was few of that many. So I just, again, want to thank everyone, but particularly those group of people that were there and made this special, as that last letter referred to. And I think I mentioned this at the last board meeting. In all the speeches that were given, all the young ladies that spoke, they all acknowledged how grateful they were to the community, to the high school, and the whole community for how we celebrated them in a very difficult situation. So just thanks again, everyone. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I guess we will do Brad. We'll go through what's the special report? Oh, man, sorry. Marianne.
That's okay. Just quickly, I did want to let you know that we do have a reopening task force. We did just recently put out a survey. Right now, we have about almost 1,500 responses from the community, and that data is very helpful and eye-opening. We do have a draft of a reopening plan, but as you all know, the governor today said he does not know what he's doing. So we have a draft of a reopening plan. We'll be meeting again tomorrow, but that draft of that plan covers the instructional scenarios as well as all the safety, the facilities, transportation. So we will be working on that. It is in a very rough draft. Just wanted to give you a quick update very quickly about the Racial Equity Committee. We are meeting weekly, and basically right now we are working on an assessment of racial equity. There is a subcommittee that has created surveys for students, parents, the teachers, and the district as a whole to get a better feel of the climate of the district in regards to racial equity. We are working on professional development, and I just Zella Kurland has been working with Jess LeBlanc as well as David Mumper, who works for the Hudson Valley Regional Bilingual Education Resource Network. They have created a PD that all of the administrative, the whole cabinet has agreed to participate in. And if you don't mind, I would like you to just tell you that this particular PD speaks to white schools where many students of color face microaggressions or other racist abuse and do not see themselves represented in their school curriculum. In this workshop, the participants, all of which are going to be the entire cabinet, will hear and reflect on narratives mostly transcribed from oral interviews with Valley Central High School students about how their racial identity has affected their experience. In addition, participants will examine several equity detours, initiatives, and institutional habits that can perpetuate racial inequity by creating a feel-good illusion of progress. The workshop will also explain concepts like institutional racism and implicit bias. So at this point, the entire cabinet, I've spoken to the VCA, we're looking for a date. We're hoping at the end of July or early August for that to take place. Central office administrators will participate in that as well as monitoring the district at that time.
That was going to be, Marianne had told me about that and thought that maybe that would be a good one for our August retreat.
And that I did talk to Sarah about it, but that's absolutely up to the board to decide what training that they'd like to participate in that. But it would be available.
I don't know if it was going to be overall as a board meeting or anything, but if there's nothing on the side, then we go individually.
I think in talking to the presenters, because I did bring that up as I asked if they thought that we should all do it together, and they felt that in this case it would be important for the administrators to actually not be working with the board at that time, so that they could be open and more reflective of their practices without, the board of education and things. So and the one for the board would actually be shorter. So the one for the administrators is a 3-hour training, and so they have developed one that could be used for Board of Education. That isn't quite as long. So it's definitely up to the board to decide if that's something they'd be interested in. And we're also looking at some curriculum for the middle school that we're that is in another school district. So we're in conversations about if that would be possible to implement into our health classes. And we're looking into talked to Jess at the recent meeting about recruiting practices as far as hiring. Like, we have done what we could as far as interviewing and committees, but we have never really looked into actual recruiting, so we're going to be investigating as well.
Thank you. All right. I will go to Brad.
So just to update you on the status of the audits. So we're still waiting on the draft for the internal audit. I reached out to them today to see if we can get a status update on that. Also, we have heard from the comptroller's office and the firm that we're using for our external audit this year. They are both interested in trying to wrap up the audits remotely, giving consideration of the hotspots that are coming up. And comptroller's office is going to work with Chris's office to, as you know, the focus is going to be on IT. So they're going to work with his office to have his techs run the scripts that need to be run on the machines that they've selected. And the external audit firm, they have a pretty easy to use portal where they can request documents so we can have them uploaded. And then any further requests, it's been a great process. So they were scheduled to be on site in July. We've now canceled that, and we're going to do it full remote this year. We were able to put a lot of hard work into this. Many districts are spending a lot of money trying to secure masks for the reopening in September. I was able to secure, well, I thought I was able to secure 100,000 reusable masks for us. When the truck showed up, it only had 27,000 on the truck, but it's a good start for us, the reusable. So for our district, it's quite a substantial cost savings. We're hoping the rest will show up eventually, but they are facing some supply issues. So that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Review of final enrollment.
Yeah, thank you again. Quickly, if you have it in front of you, you got everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, just so I just want to call your attention. You see, last year we closed with 4202. This year we closed at 4184. So it's at the difference of 18 students. So pretty much in line. I would tell you, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I think with what I'm hearing from a lot of different places with the COVID this year, real estate in Orange County is very, very hot right now, and people are moving in. So I anticipate that when we start school in September, in whatever fashion, we'll certainly, and it takes a while for people to certainly buy a home and build a home, but I think you'll see the numbers go up over where we closed this year, and up into the whatever. But I think we'll see some growth. I guess is the best way to answer it. But we looked at the numbers too, as you know, and Brad and Marianne, Mike set the budget, class size. We've been able to maintain very well throughout the district the class sizes. So stay tuned, and we'll certainly keep you abreast of how enrollments go. But thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the Oxford meeting.
I was able to attend. They had a Google Meet meeting, some highlights. They approved the budget, which was unchanged from last year. They appointed their new slate of officers, and they had a presentation by NISBA, the Executive Director, Bob Schneider, the General Counsel, Jay Verona, the Head of Governmental Relations, Brian Fessler, and the Head of Member Relations, Barry Entwistle. They talked about the advocating they did on behalf of the schools at the state level with the governor's office for the budget, the voting, and the COVID closures. And they spoke about the reopening plan. They're really waiting. I guess the task force is convening next week, and they said that they would have recommendations to schools with their guidance by July 15th. And that was really, there was a lot of, we don't know until the governor's office makes an announcement, but
And I think he said today he hasn't decided yet. That was his last thing.
And just today, I have one additional report. Sonia is our liaison for the Racial Equity Committee. So, Sonia, if you want to give us an update.
Sure. So, I'd like to congratulations to Dr. Fletcher, and Sonia in that meeting, and, it was the first time I think that most of the people in that meeting got to actually see him, like, if there was other candidates that got to see him. And, I was very impressed with him, and some of the things that he had to say, and some of the ways that he wanted to move, and he allowed people to ask questions, and I think was very, detailed in his answers, that it wasn't just a quick, let me, you know what I mean, and he was very good. They didn't get through the whole committee for questions, because I just had some questions regarding, being a red board member, and how we can use it, and he had any recommendations that what we could do, you know, to help, and there were a couple of questions in regards to that question I asked. You know, hopefully for the next meeting, we can get to the rest of, the people. I think that he likes the next meeting. Right, so that's good. I think that, I think it's a great start. I do. I think it's a great start. I think as time goes on, maybe there'll be some tweaks and changes to it, but, you know, I think that it would be good to have a broader spectrum of the people that are on the committee, but it really on it, you know, I know it's developed and you are doing your time about it. Even the candidates that are applied, I believe, as that group. So there's definitely progress being made, and I'm excited to see what the future is.
Okay, we will move on to old business now, the approval of the high school and middle school curriculum. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Make a motion to approve 1 to 5.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it all. Motion to approve everything 1 through 5. So Mel, okay, second? Diana? Under approval of high school and middle school curricula?
Okay, we're doing 1 through 5.
1 through
Okay.
5. Yep. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, approved 7-0. And now we'll move down to new business. Readoption of district code of conduct and plain language summary. We're going to pull off for now based on our earlier meeting to get some additional clarifications. So we'll revisit that in our next meeting. So we're going to move on to the appointment of committee members and liaisons. So we have a list that we need to go through. Ideally, like to see everybody on at least 1 or 2, 3 or 4. As we move forward, we'll get updates in the meetings. Ideally, if we can get them submitted in writing to Ellen, and then we'll discuss them in the meeting, that would be great. So the first committee is the Audit Committee, and I think I have to be on this, right? Okay, but I run the audit. Okay, so I'm there.
Brad, we need 3.
We have 3 board members.
3 board members, so.
Does anybody else?
Anybody else have interest in the audit committee? Katie? Anybody else?
Art, did you want to stay on the audit committee?
Um,
Or I'll do it if you don't want to do it.
No, I'll do it.
got lots of bullets tonight, so. All right, next is the policy committee. And again, I'll be on that, and I think we have
We need 3 on that one
3 as
too.
well,
Okay,
right?
Diana.
Diana. Great. Anybody else on the policy committee?
I was on it last year. No, Mel? I'll stay on.
Sarah. Okay. Health, Safety, and Wellness. Art was on that. Okay, anybody opposed Art staying on it? All right, Technology Committee. Anybody have interest in the Technology Committee? They meet like once quarterly.
I'll do it. I haven't, yeah. Technology, you can, it's really my thing, but I'll do it.
Okay,
Do you not, is that
No, I
too
will
much?
do it.
Because with, are
you
you
have
gonna
it.
be
I'm
fine?
tired, I can do it.
Okay, well, we're gonna put you down for it. All right, Guidance Committee, Diana was on that. Does anybody have interest in the Guidance Committee?
It's a group of the guidance counselors from the high school and the assistant counselors from the elementary school. They get together and they talk about backup. They talk about the plans that they have in the schools for the children, things that they're doing with the classroom. They go into the classroom, do lessons with them, so they share ideas. And they talk about how they can benefit the students, continue doing it.
That typically meets quarterly, I would say
Quarterly.
10 in the morning.
All right, good. Curriculum? Diana in there.
If you-
Safety and Guidance? Yeah, okay. Next is the Valley Central Education Foundation. Anybody have interest in the Valley Central Education Foundation? I am, yeah. Anybody else wants it? Anyone? We'll meet once a month? Okay, I'll keep it. I like that. All right, Valley Central PTA. Tony, you want to stay there? All right. Okay, next is Oxford. Art,
You want to do that? I would be the alternate.
you do alternate. Okay, Art and then Sarah. Good.
And everyone, anyone can go to those meetings. If you don't have to be the, you don't have to go.
Okay, the New York State School Board Association. Now. Robin?
She didn't say it.
We do a second for that, or no, just one? Just one? Okay. All right, and then the Racial Equity and Education Committee? Sonia? Anyone else have interest? Okay. You want to do a backup?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. No, Bruce, do that. All right. Nice. Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval of curriculum writing, grade 8, elements of science. Can I get a motion to approve that? Second? Sarah? Sarah? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, approved 7-0. Next on the agenda is the approval of bid recommendations. We can do all 5 together if nobody has a concern with that.
I'll make a motion to do all 5 together.
All right, now makes a motion. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Nothing. All right, thank you. Yeah, it's easy, Sarah. All right. We're going to table the approval of agreement with the YMCA. We need to do some additional work. table the first reading too, right? 'Cause, yeah, we're going to table that for some potential updates as well. Okay, so next item on the agenda is student discipline. And be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Valley Central School District does hereby uphold the superintendent's decision and suspension of student 2020-2 issued pursuant to an education law 3214 superintendent hearing. And okay. So I need a motion to uphold. Second. All right. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, passes 6-1. Okay, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the transportation agreement between Valley Central School District and student 20-3. Can I get a motion to approve? Okay, second? Yes.
Mr. Brad, so am I reading this right? Mom, dad, and kids, and we're paying the IRS rate.
Correct.
The rate is, any budget for that, since the rate changes, or is that an issue, or not at all?
This is a substantial cost savings to the district. So, yeah, this is an instance we have one student going to a school. We would be looking at a minimum of around $200 to $300, more towards $300 a day to run a bus. Out of an abundance of caution for safety and cost savings for the district, districts can enter into a parent transportation contract, and we can pay them at the IRS rate, which is for this year 57 cents a mile or something like that. So for about $30 a day, we can pay the mom to transport the student.
Second question is the school actually open?
Yes.
So we already.
Yeah. Yes. Cadlin Academy is open. We also learned the Center for Discovery is open. We have two kids that may require transportation there. They're starting as a online and going to try to transition into in-person later this year. So we may be coming back to you with two more. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Stand? Okay, passes 7-0. Okay, that was. Okay, all right, so that's the end of our agenda items. I would like to just make a quick statement on behalf of the board. So, a lot of discussion tonight about our race equity committee and certainly with our policies and things like that. So I would just like to go on record that this board recognizes racial injustice, and certainly that, our community is not immune to this. And the board is aware of concerns by community members and parent groups. The board has a desire to support change and, make sure Valley Central is a fair and equitable environment for all students. But the board also acknowledges that change will take time. Some things will be quick, like our policies that we've adopted tonight, but, other things are going to take more time. So, where we are didn't happen overnight, and not everything is going to be resolved overnight. But this board will use feedback from the Race and Equity Committee to help identify opportunities to change. And then we'll use our resources to support the implementation of those changes. And, change is a process, and the first two steps of change is awareness and desire, and this board has both of that. And the next step is knowledge. And I think right now we're in the gathering stage of knowledge. So, again, not everything's going to happen overnight, but we are committed to change, and we will do what we need to do to support that change moving forward. Okay? Thank you. Okay, so we do need to go into executive session quickly to talk about superintendent contract and evaluation. Sorry. Can I get a motion to go into executive session? Diana, second. Sarah? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Abstentions? Okay. So we're going to go into executive session. No action will be taken when we come out of executive session, and we will close the meeting after executive session. So thank you very much. And we go into session. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.